Hello and welcome to the first health related video on this channel. In this video I'll be listing and describing the most common sugar alternatives available. For the most part I'll include what the sweeteners are, how they are made, where they are found, and a very brief overview on how it's broken down in the body if at all. Now, this video will include a very short health summary about each one of these sweeteners. If you are interested in a much more detailed explanation on each one of these sweeteners, please leave me a like and comment on this video telling me that you would like to see that, and I'll release a follow-up video very soon. And without further ado, let's get into it. Here are all the sweeteners I'll be covering in this video with their related time signatures if you want to skip to them if you're in a hurry, but only if you're in a hurry. And to start us off, we have aspartame, or aspartame if you want to pronounce it incorrectly. Probably the most controversial sweetener on this list. There are a few misconceptions about this sweetener, mainly that it can cause cancer or even more specifically brain cancer. But let me clear the record and say that aspartame is the most studied sweetener in all of human history, and the overall scientific consensus says that if consumed regularly in reasonable amounts will lead to no major negative health effects. Aspartame has been deemed safe for human consumption by over 100 regulatory science agencies in their respective countries, and it is categorized as generally recognized as safe by the FDA. Aspartame is produced from two common amino acids, which are aspartic acid and phenylalanine. These common amino acids are found naturally in fruits, vegetables, meats, and eggs. Aspartame is most commonly used in diet sodas, and is also found in reduced or no sugar added juices in light yogurts, puddings, popsicles, nutrition bars, chewing gums, syrups, and condiments. It can also be found in blue packets at restaurants, coffee shops, and commonly under the Equal brand. Aspartame is 200 times sweeter than sugar, and for this reason is often combined with other sweeteners or starches to closely match the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. Usually maltodextrin or dextrose in dry powder form, and ace-fulmame potassium, or ACE-K, in diet sodas and Equal packets. The flavor of sweetness of aspartame does come closest to sugar amongst the artificial sweeteners, but the sweetness does last longer than sugar. It does break down into its constituent amino acids if exposed to high heat or high alkaline substances, making it not suitable for cooking or baking. Aspartame was discovered in 1965 by James M. Schlatter while assessing an anti-ulcer drug candidate. He discovered the sweetness of aspartame when he didn't wash his hands before licking his finger to separate pieces of paper. And you'll come to find out that surprisingly a few sweeteners in this video were discovered this exact same way. I guess not all chemists wash their hands when working with chemicals before putting it in their mouths, which is a little concerning, but I digress. Aspartame is rapidly broken down in the body into its constituent amino acids, which only contribute a small amount of calories without affecting blood sugar levels. Next, we have ace-sulfame potassium, also known as ace-sulfame K, or most commonly ACE-K. ACE-K is completely synthetic and does not get broken down or metabolized by the body and passes out through the urine. It is commonly found as one of the main sweeteners in diet sodas and can also be found in protein shakes, pharmaceutical chewables, drink mixes, baked goods, candy, and gum. ACE-K is about 200 times sweeter than sugar and about as sweet as aspartame, but has a bitter aftertaste. And for this reason is often combined with other sweeteners and bulking agents to mask the bitterness and create a sweetness to volume ratio similar to sugar. The other sweeteners include sucralose and aspartame, and the bulking agents include maltodextrin and dextrose. It is commonly found in the blue Equal packets in coffee shops and restaurants. ACE-K was synthesized in 1965 by Karl Klaus and Harald Jensen, and the sweetness was discovered, you guessed it, by accident when Klaus didn't wash his hands before licking his fingers to turn a page. Because why would you? Next we have sucralose, a derivative of sucrose, which is table sugar. It is most commonly found in diet sodas and is also found in other beverages, dairy products, chewing gums, canned fruits, syrups, nutrition bars, and condiments. Sucralose is available in liquid concentrate form for purchase, or more commonly in granular form in bulk or single-serve packets at coffee shops and restaurants. It is designated in the yellow packets and is most commonly sold as Splenda. Other common brands of sucralose-based sweeteners are ZeroCal, Sacrana, Sucra Plus, Candies, Krucken, and Novella. It is 400 to 700 times sweeter than sugar and does not have a bitter aftertaste. And because of this, in its granular form, it is often combined with maltodextrin and or dextrose as bulking agents to mask the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. Man, I wonder how many times I'm going to say sweetness to volume ratio in this video. Anyway, sucralose isn't hygroscopic like sugar, meaning that it doesn't attract or hold on to water the same way that sugar does, leading to noticeably drier baked goods. It does maintain its granular structure and does not melt at higher temperatures like sugar does. Because of this, sucralose does not caramelize the way sugar does. Only about 2 to 8% of sucralose ingested is metabolized by the body, while only 11 to 27% is absorbed by the kidneys from the bloodstream and excreted in the urine. And the rest that is not absorbed passes directly into feces. Sucralose was discovered in 1975 by scientists Leslie Hu and Shashikant Fandis from Tate and Lyle while researching novel uses of sucrose and its derivatives. Hu asked Fandis to test the compound, but Fandis happened to hear taste instead of test, and did so without question surprisingly. He found it to be exceptionally sweet, leading to the discovery of the sweetness of sucralose. Now, onto saccharin. Saccharin is the oldest synthetic sweetener. It was introduced in 1900. It is an organic compound derived from petroleum. Petroleum? Like oil and gas? Surprisingly, yes, but before we get too concerned, numerous studies of saccharin have shown it to have no major negative health effects if taken in reasonable quantities. You may hear about this one study back in the 70s that found it to cause bladder cancer in rats, but the amount given to the rats by the researchers was astronomically high. No human would be able to consume the same amount proportionally, so it's okay. It has been categorized as generally recognized as safe by the FDA. And saccharin is the only synthetic non-nutritive sweetener allowed in most countries for use in soft drinks. Saccharin is 300 to 400 times sweeter than sugar. It does have a mild bitter and metallic aftertaste to about 2/3 of the people that consume it, and the other third find the unpleasant aftertaste much more intense. Because of this, it is often combined with other sweeteners to achieve a more desirable taste and to aid in stabilizing other sweeteners. It is often paired with aspartame in soft drinks. Saccharin can be found in liquid concentrate form, or most commonly in its granular form. These can be available for retail purchase and also found in pink packets at restaurants and coffee shops. Most commonly under the brands Sweet and Low and Equal Pink. In these packets, saccharin is often combined with dextrose and or maltodextrin to more closely match the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. Sweet and Low is also the main brand that sells the liquid concentrate. Other brands that sell saccharin are Sweet Twin and NectarSweet. Saccharin can also less commonly be found in cookies, candies, and medicines. It was first produced in 1879 by Konstantin Fahlberg at Johns Hopkins University when working with coal tar derivatives. He had spilled some of the chemical on his hands and didn't wash them when he went out to lunch. Of course. And was surprised to find the bread that he was eating was exceptionally sweet. He later deduced it was due to the chemical that he just synthesized and not the type of bread he was eating. Although that does sound pretty good. Next, we have a category of sweeteners called sugar alcohols. Sugar alcohols are a type of sweet carbohydrate that has an alcohol molecule attached to it. But despite the name, sugar alcohols do not contain ethanol, which is the type of alcohol that can get you drunk. Because sugar alcohols are carbohydrates, they do slightly contribute to calories and affect insulin levels when ingested, however, significantly less than sugar and other carbohydrates, so because of this, most products that include sugar alcohols often label them as low-calorie and or sugar-free. The most common sugar alcohol that you might have heard of is erythritol. That's how you pronounce it, is erythritol. Erythritol is the lowest calorie sugar alcohol because only about 10% of it is broken down in the body. And for this reason, you could consider it calorie-free. Erythritol occurs naturally in some fruits and fermented foods. It is produced industrially with enzymatic hydrolysis of starch from corn to make glucose. Then that is fermented with yeast and or another fungus to produce erythritol. Erythritol is about 60 to 70% as sweet as sugar, and can measure the same as sugar. It is a white crystal that can be bought in bulk, in granular form, or in powdered form. It does not dissolve in water as easily as sugar does, so most goods baked with it have a noticeably drier texture. To compensate for this, many products that include erythritol will include fats or other compounds that dissolve easier in water to make a better, more moist consistency. Nice. It is commonly sold by Swerve brand products that have granular, confectioners, and brown variants. Other brands that sell erythritol include Now Foods, Vitacost, Health Garden, Wholesome Sweeteners Organic Zero, Anthony's Z-Sweet, and Whole Earth Sweetener. Other foods that contain erythritol are Quest products, Buy Drinks, and keto and low carb labeled sweets and drinks. Many other natural sugar alternatives like stevia and monk fruit are often combined with erythritol for added bulk and to match the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. Whole Earth brand's stevia sweetener found at Starbucks and other coffee shops is a prime example. When erythritol dissolves in water, it has a noticeably strong cooling effect, which is often compared to the cooling effect of mint flavors. Like most sugar alcohols, erythritol can cause gastrointestinal distress at higher quantities, but not nearly to the extent as other sugar alcohols. With most of the other sugar alcohols, it would take between 1 to 3 sweets containing those sweeteners to cause gut distress and diarrhea. But it would only take between 4 to 8 erythritol containing sweets to cause gut distress without the diarrhea. The other sugar alcohols out there are slowly being phased out of popularity due to the success and versatility of erythritol and the newer sugar alternatives hitting the market. But since they are still being used, albeit less commonly, they'll receive a passing mention. The names of these other sugar alcohols are sorbitol, xylitol, maltitol, and mannitol. These sweeteners have similar properties to sugar, such as being white granular crystal and measuring about the same, all with between 50 to 70% the sweetness of sugar. They all contribute more calories than erythritol, with maltitol being the highest at contributing about 40% the calories of sugar. Maltitol also has a GI index of 52 compared to sugar's GI index of 60, whereas the others have a GI index of between 2 to 25, significantly less than that of maltitol. These other sugar alcohols all cause gut distress and diarrhea when consumed at moderate to high amounts, with sorbitol being the worst offender. So consume with caution. Because of all these side effects, sugar alcohols, with the exception of erythritol, aren't recommended for people who are following a low-carb or ketogenic diet. Now, all the sugar alcohols can be considered natural sweeteners, since they are found in fruits, vegetables, and grains. However, we will now go over the other sweeteners that are heavily marketed as natural and beneficial to your health. Chief among them being stevia. Stevia is a sweetener derived from the leaves of the stevia plant native to Brazil and Paraguay, and has been used for over 1500 years, commonly in teas. Most commercial products of stevia are refined concentrates of the leaf called stevioglycosides. The most common and the most favorable of which is, hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, ribaldicide A. Stevia is generally 75 to 150 times sweeter than sugar and is heat stable. It can commonly be found at coffee shops and restaurants in a green packet, often combined with other sweeteners and or bulking agents to closely match the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. The most common bulking agents are either dextrose or maltodextrin. Stevia in the raw packets include dextrose, but when sold in bulk, it includes maltodextrin. And the organic stevia in the raw packets includes sugar as the bulking agent. Most other powdered stevia sold in bulk that is cheap is often combined with one of these filler agents. But most commonly, the sweetener added to stevia for bulk is erythritol, like in the Whole Earth stevia packets found at Starbucks and in the brands Truvia and Pure, or Pyre, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. The appeal of these brands using erythritol instead of the aforementioned starches, such as dextrose or maltodextrin, is that they can be marketed as completely natural, sugar-free, and zero-calorie. Other brands that sell stevia include Purevia, Sweetleaf, and Stir. Stevia can be found included in other food products such as Zevia and Coca-Cola branded drinks. Stevia isn't absorbed in the upper gastrointestinal tract and therefore does not contribute any calories. It then gets absorbed by the bloodstream, metabolized by the liver, then excreted in the urine. The next sweetener marketed as natural and healthy is monk fruit. Monk fruit is a small round fruit native to southern China that has been used for centuries in medicine. The sweetener is created by removing the seeds and the skin of the fruit, crushing the fruit, and collecting the juice. The juice does not contain any calories per serving. This juice is then homogenized and slightly acidified to prevent gelling and to improve the flavor. Then it is treated with pectinase or another enzyme to break down the pectin. The sweetness of the fruit mainly comes from the mongersides, which are a group of tryptophan glycosides. This extract is nearly 300 times sweeter than sugar. Because of this, it is either sold in liquid concentrate form or more commonly in granular form combined with other sugar alternatives such as erythritol to more closely match the sweetness to volume ratio of sugar. Monk fruit is much less commonly combined with maltodextrin or dextrose like stevia and other sweeteners are. It is often combined with stevia to better complement each other's flavor and to be marketed as a natural and healthy sweetener blend, most recognizably in the Whole Earth stevia and monk fruit packets at Starbucks. Most common brands that sell monk fruit are Nectris, Purelo, Pure Fruit, Fruit Sweetness, monk fruit in the raw, and Lakanto. The mongersides responsible for monk fruit sweetness aren't absorbed in the upper gastrointestinal tract and do not contribute any calories. When it reaches the colon, gut microbes break it down partially for food, and the remaining compounds are absorbed in the bloodstream and excreted in the urine. And now, last but not least, the newcomer to the market, allulose. Allulose is a low-calorie monosaccharide sugar, also known as a rare sugar, because it is naturally present in very few foods. Those foods include wheat, figs, and raisins. Allulose is made from converting fructose with an enzymatic process, most commonly from the fructose from corn. It is about 70% as sweet as sugar, with some of the closest taste and properties to sugar out of every sweetener in this video. It measures, browns, freezes, and absorbs water the same as sugar. It also has an additional foaming property similar to egg whites. Its chemical structure is similar to sugar, but despite its name as a rare sugar, it does not get metabolized in the body in the same way that sugar does, and it has about 0.3% the same caloric value of sugar, and has shown to actually lower blood sugar levels when consumed. So it does look very promising as a complete sugar replacement. The only main side effect being gut distress and diarrhea if taken at moderate to higher quantities. However, the severity of these symptoms do vary per individual. On nutrition labels, it is included in the total carbohydrate section, but like erythritol, it can be subtracted out to get the net carb balance, which are the carbs your body actually metabolizes. Allulose can be bought in both granular and syrup forms. Brands that sell allulose are Wholesome, Keystone Pantry, Health Garden, and People's Keto. Additionally, brands that include allulose are the Quest Hero Bars, Lang's Chocolates, Allulite Chocolates, and No Better Cookie. This is the one I am personally excited about trying and using in my baked goods and sweets. If this video did spark your interest and you would like to know more of a detailed health summary on each one of these sweeteners, please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. But that's all we have time for here today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I guess not all chemists wash their hands before putting them in their mouths while they're will either include fats or compounds that but that's all. But